Chapter 5. I knew they would come for me. 45. That's how many there were. 45 nights, 45 women, and no one noticed. They whispered but didn't hear. They watched but didn't see. Until her, Ida Monroe, 19 years old. A fresh wooden plaque on her grave. Her name, her date, and a strange phrase burned into the wood. I didn't know what it meant, but I felt it, like the earth itself was breathing beneath it. I came to her at night, like always, shovel, black coat. My little prayer, not out of faith but habit, step, step, inhale, step. But the earth didn't open. The first touch of the shovel was soft, deceiving. Then it hit something, not stone, something worse. The soil clenched like muscle, tight and wet. It sucked at the blade, thick like old blood. I pushed harder. The handle splintered in my grip. Each thrust echoed, a sound like ribs cracking under weight. The fog crawled low, dense, smothering. Somewhere behind, a tree creaked. A crow shrieked once, then silence. I dug deeper. The air reeked of mold and iron, of something rotting just beyond reach. The ground hissed. My breath steamed in the cold. Then I remembered Clara. Her grave had opened like arms, soft where welcoming. I kissed her fingers before lifting her. She smiled for me. They all did, except Ada. The shovel jarred. My knees buckled. I fell, hands sinking into the mud. It was warm, too warm, like something alive. The wooden plaque above pulsed in the moonlight. The letters, burnt deep, glowed faint red. She sleeps, but not for you. I blinked. The plaque trembled, then slipped. It struck my shoulder, crushed the breath from me. I screamed, not from pain, from rejection. And then the plaque slipped. It fell, crushed my shoulder, pinned my chest, and I screamed, not from pain, from rejection. 10 years. They opened to me. Why won't she? I sobbed. I shook. I lay in the dirt, pants down, trembling like a child, crying, alone. And when the cemetery guard found me, he froze. He saw me lying on her grave, pressed against it, and in his voice, not disgust, not rage, only confusion. I whispered, "She didn't let me in." Later there were sirens, radios, flashing lights, reporters with empty eyes and only one question. Why were you crying? Because for the first time in 10 years, the dead had rejected me. They didn't need to break down the door. It was already open. I didn't resist. There was no point. My body ached. My shoulder throbbed from the tombstone's weight. But my mind clung to one thought. Why didn't she let me in? The trailer behind the graveyard was barely more than a coffin on wheels. Stale air pressed against the walls. Curtains yellowed with age. The scent hit first, formalin, rot, and something sickly sweet, like dying flowers soaked in perfume. On the shelf above the cracked sink sat vials and bottles. Embalming fluid, tweezers, spools of dark thread, a dried rose with brittle petals turning black at the tips. They found the bathroom door nailed shut. The wood splintered under the crowbar. A gust of mold spilled out. Inside was Elizabeth, not buried, not hidden, just resting. She lay in the bathtub, dressed in a faded blue gown, the one she wore at her husband's funeral. The fabric clung to her like algae. Around her neck, a broken string of pearls, half submerged. Her face had changed. The skin pulled tight across her cheekbones. Lips parted in what had once been a smile. Now it looked like a snarl frozen mid-sentence. Officer Carter dropped his flashlight. The beam stuttered across her face. Her eyes, open, glassy, clouded, but watchful. Her hand, with nails blackened and curling, rested on the rim of the tub like she was about to rise. Someone whispered, "Jesus Christ." But I only said, "She listens." She never interrupted, never mocked. She was patient. She chose to stay. They opened my closet, found the journals, pages filled with names, ages, scents, the way her skin cooled, the way her lips parted, the way I held her hand after. 45 entries. One line stood out. Ida, 19. I couldn't. She said no. At the station, they questioned me. Did you really remember all their names? Almost all. Who was the last? I don't know. I didn't touch her. She refused. And Elizabeth? She stayed. I didn't touch her. Not at first. Later. Yeah. But by then, she was already mine. They looked at me like I was a thing, not a man. I stared at the floor. There was a crack in the tiles shaped like a cross. I whispered, "Maybe one day you'll lie there too, alone, wishing someone, anyone, would stay." They called it a trial, but it was more like a seance. Everyone gathered not to seek justice, but to purge a ghost. The courtroom was cold, lit like a morgue. Lisa entered slowly. She leaned on a cane, one leg dragging slightly. Her once golden hair was streaked with gray, though she couldn't have been older than 25. Her eyes were bloodshot, rimmed with purple. The high collar of her blouse hid the horror beneath, a mass of something black crawling just under her skin. She sat, faced the silence, then spoke. "He brought dead flowers, laid them on me, told me not to breathe, said I had to match them, to be still." Gasps followed. "He didn't hurt me, he just watched, whispered things. Things I don't want to remember." She lifted her sleeve. The room held its breath. Her skin was marbled, ash gray with greenish veins, like something half alive. "They thought I was embalmed," she whispered. A woman in the back row sobbed uncontrollably. I recognized her. Mrs. Graves. She owned the bakery where I used to buy old bread for the crows. I stood, looked right at her. "You, Mrs. Graves, you wear lipstick to hide the bruises your husband leaves. Tell me, was my sin worse than his?" Gasps turned to outrage. Someone shouted. A journalist sketched furiously. Not me, but Lisa, mid-tier. I looked at the judge. They welcomed me. The dead. I was never alone until Ada. She said no. I never forced. I waited. My voice shook. "You think I'm a monster, but you've never sat in a room and begged for silence. You've never been loved by the still." One juror fainted. Another crossed himself. Lisa didn't look at me again. She only whispered before leaving, "He loved death too much to ever love the living." And she was right. I knew it wouldn't last much longer. Ida was the sign. The earth refused me. Death no longer answered. When the guard grabbed me, I didn't resist. When the officers cuffed my wrists, I didn't speak. But inside, I could still hear the whisper, not from the graves, not from the wind, from deep within. They stayed with me, all 45. They hadn't left. They were breathing beneath my skin, clawing from the inside, whispering, "You are ours, forever." In the cell, I never asked for food or water, only for a blanket. At night, I sat on the floor, scratched the wall with my fingernails, until blood mixed with the paint. I wanted to feel them again, closer, beneath the surface, inside the bone. The sink dripped. A shallow puddle collected below. When I leaned over it, I didn't see my face. I saw Clara's, Margaret's, Ada, but twisted, eyes hollow and black, lips sewn shut. They looked up at me, beckoned, touched my reflection. Shadows lengthened unnaturally, even when the light was still. They moved on their own. I saw fingers reach out of the cracks in the wall, pale, familiar. I tore the sheet into strips, slowly, carefully, humming the song Elizabeth used to hum when she brushed her hair. My nails were gone by then, just bleeding flesh. I dipped it in blood, drew circles on the wall, petals, then vines, then a word. Forgive. It pulsed in the dark. The voices grew louder. I stood on the stool, wrapped the knot, took one breath, like before a kiss. The air was cold, sweet, like gardenias and grave dirt, and I whispered, I'm coming home. The rope was their final embrace. They found me in the morning, silent, still, swinging slowly like an autumn leaf. On the floors, a black stain. On the ceiling, barefoot prints, as if someone had been standing there, watching. Epilogue. My wife and daughter changed their names. They moved far away. No one's seen them since. In the town where I lived, people now place an extra chair beside fresh graves. They say it's for the one who still comes at night, and if you stand there in the dark just long enough, you might hear it. Laughter, a whisper, your name. The end, but not the silence.